right, how's everybody doing? I'm Andy Schwam here, and we got some audio coming back at me. Can you hear that?
Okay.
So we got Rich Ross here with me. He's behind the scenes, making everything work, and I've got a guest here, Nick Hodges, good friend for years in the community. We seem like I know you. I couldn't even guess how long.
Philly Code Camp for about 8 years now.
8 years, right? It's interesting how
back when it was at DeVry.
Yeah, remember DeVry? Yeah. It's interesting how when we have this technical community, how we've known people for like a long time, and we really have this nice community here in Philadelphia that we're lucky to have. And now we have our way of taking that, what we think of as a Philadelphia community, and really it's irrelevant now. The Philly part of it becomes less relevant because we stream. As we talked about earlier, the Wednesday meetings, the Philly.net meetings, are streamed out on mixer.com/Philly.net, DOT, Philly.net. And then, of course, the archive is on YouTube, Philly.net. And I was talking earlier about how we do the Dev Talk Show. I don't know if you've been really cued into that yet.
I have not.
But we do the Dev Talk Show, which is Rich Ross, myself, and Chris Gomez.
Oh, yeah.
And we do that every Wednesday.
And it turns into a podcast, right?
It's really more of a video podcast, right? It's a live stream with a conversation. We talk. We'll have to have you come on the show sometime.
I'd be delighted.
And we do demos and we do conversation. It's sort of like a mix between a technical presentation and a conversation with friends, right?
Cool. Sounds great.
Yeah, so you doing 2 sessions today.
I am.
One of which you've already completed.
The routing in Angular session was this morning. Went pretty well.
Yeah.
Almost left out a big chunk of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And fortunately, near the end, the guy goes, "Well, how does this connect up?" And I went, "Oh." So we got it all
nice
covered.
To have feedback from the audience.
It was great.
A little bit.
Got it all covered up.
Takes a village, right?
Exactly.
So that was your routing in Angular. So that's not an intro to Angular by any stretch. That's
I did an intro to Angular session all day yesterday.
You got to be tired.
Oh man, now I'm ready to go.
Yeah. I think you're a better man than me.
I got some decent sleep last night. I went home early from the after party and got some decent sleep.
Okay.
Although the Yankees won, so I was not too happy.
Oh, the Yankees won. Well, I grew up a Yankees fan.
I thought you were. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in the New York area. Yeah. And when I was a kid, this were the days with Reggie Jackson.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't not be. Mr. October, right?
I'm a Twins fan though, so the Yankees keep kicking the crap out of us.
Well, I don't really watch a lot of baseball.
Anyway,
but
yesterday I was in an all-day session, Angular 101, from the ground up. And we built a classic to-do app. If it's not a real tutorial unless you build a to-do app.
Sure.
And we had a good time, and I'll probably do it again. It fills up every time, so I'll keep doing it until.
You've been doing it for a while. You're doing a lot of Angular content and a lot of these things. You're also coming out to Tech Bash.
I am
in November, and we're psyched to have you come out. And
I'm looking forward to it.
Asked you to do it's not the full day workshop, but
an hour long.
Bottle that thing up.
I will.
And do it in an hour.
Yeah.
And Nick does a great job with getting everybody up to speed on Angular.
Yep.
And then you're also, I think, going to do this other talk. I think we're having you do the observables talk.
Yep.
And that's the one you have coming up next. So what's that a little bit for people that are watching now?
Observables are part of the React.js, or just the reactive library. There's a number of React libraries for all kinds of languages. But Rxjs is the one that is for JavaScript and hence for Angular. And an observable is sort of the latest generation of a promise, but it's more powerful than that. So what it is basically it's a stream of data that comes in asynchronously.
Right.
And sort of like an array, but it comes in asynchronously. So when you subscribe, it's a function that gets called when you subscribe. And the function, you pass another function to the subscribe function, the subscribe call, and that function gets called for every time something comes through.
Okay.
So a stream could be something as simple as an array of data, or it could be something like the mouse clicks on a page.
It can be that, yep.
Which is obviously asynchronous, because you never know when the user's going to click. So it enables you to handle those very deftly. And what the talk does is it builds we're going to go step by step from sort of scratch to building a observable from scratch.
Yeah. Now, would you use something like that? Would that be fitting for like a stock ticker, like that kind of feed?
Sure, any kind of feed. HTTP feeds coming in. like I said, mouse clicks, mouse events, any type of eventing system, like a routing events or any type of event would be a perfect example for a observable.
Okay, sounds cool. Now let me, put you on the spot here a little on how much confusing this is, but sometimes the naming of these things can be a little confusing, especially when you get to the word React.
Right.
Right? Because there's Rxjs.
Right.
There's a couple different React. So you said that's part of it's React. How does that fit in? It's not like React like people would make full web applications with React.
No. Rxjs is really the short code for React.js.
Yep.
But React.js is different from the React web framework. Reactive programming is the notion that you, as opposed to imperatively declare what you're going to do, you react. It's more sort of reacting to what comes into you. And so that's where the notion of an observable comes in. And observables are really the heart of everything that goes on inside of reactive programming.
Yeah, it's good. I do think that there's some, I like to try to clear up any confusion because sometimes people come to it and they go, oh yeah, React, sure, I know about that. But this is, the word is overloaded a little bit.
Yeah, so much.
But reactive programming is the thing now, right?
Yeah, so much of what we do now is asynchronous, right? I mean, everything's in a thread. Everything's coming at us in HTTP streams and TCP/IP streams, whatever kind of connectivity you're doing, RESTful APIs, whatever. And so you need to be able to react to those.
You need to go react to it. So before we forget, and not ending the conversation, but where's a good place for people to reach you if they want?
I am doing my Angular stuff at anglesandtypes.io.
Angles and Types. So ANGLES and the word and types
types.io.
So
it's like Angular and TypeScript.
Okay.
And I'm always available at nickhodges.com.
So I can bring up angles and types up here on the side.
There I am.
We can get
that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, what's that? Maybe we don't want to bring that up.
Big old ad. Oh gosh, that looks terrible, doesn't it? I need to fix that. Holy mackerel, what's going on?
Yeah, a little problem with the website there, but
okay. Well, we'll work on that. Sorry about that.
And then you have Nick Hodges. Maybe we'll
nickhodges.com. That should work a little better. I do a lot of. Whoops, that's actually my old blog.
Oh, you got a new one?
Go to codingindelphi.com/blog.
Coding in Delphi. In Delphi.
Now, I am a long-time Delphi developer.
/blog. Yeah, I remember that.
And we started do Delphi at my company.
Coding doesn't have an E. Yeah,
coding doesn't have an E. Yeah, I'm a long-time Delphi developer. I started with Borland Pascal back in the early 90s, and worked my way up to be the Delphi product manager at Borland back in the day.
So there's a lot of places people can find you and follow up, and Twitter. You use Twitter?
Yeah, right. I'm at Nick Hodges on Twitter. If you type Nick Hodges in, you're either going to find me or an accountant in Ohio.
An accountant in Ohio. Yeah. Okay. Either way, I can get some questions answered. Hopefully.
Absolutely. Right? I'm interested. I love being part of the community. I was a long-time Delphi community member, wrote books, and did presentations at the Borland conference for many years. And now I'm getting more into the Microsoft technology with TypeScript. And
TypeScript is
big TypeScript
fun, right? Yeah, that's a big part of Angular, right? So what kind of feedback do you find yourself getting on Angular after people see it, after they sit through the workshop? I assume those are newbies, right?
Most of them, yeah. Right. Most of them are obviously developers, but new to Angular. I got some good feedback. I got good feedback yesterday.
It's not just about your session, but about Angular in general.
No, about Angular, yeah. People seem to like it. I certainly am very attracted to it. It reminds me of the early days of visual design, in that everybody's very excited about it. There's tons of articles, a lot of community being built up about it.
Right.
So it's nice to be part of a community that's so broad and wide out there.
Yep.
You don't have to go very far on the internet to find a great Angular presentation.
Always tricky though. How much I get when I search for something for Angular, how you find what's the old Angular JS stuff.
Oh, you got to go minus Angular JS.
Yeah, minus Angular JS is a good tip right there. Minus in Google, right? Minus Angular JS. Minus JS. And I tell you, I find the same thing on resumes when I'm hiring. I try to be really careful because people put Angular
And then
I talk to them and they're like, "Oh yeah, AngularJS," and I'm like, or they don't know, or they call it AngularJS and they got it all mixed up.
Yep.
And so it's sort of important to separate that.
We've been doing the same thing.
Yeah. Now, is Angular part of your day job?
It is not. I'm still a Delphi. I still manage Delphi and C# developers.
No kidding. Yeah.
Our main product our main ticketing product is built in Delphi, and all our new web API stuff is built in C# and .NET Core.
And if you want managed, you can or cannot mention the place you work.
Gateway Ticketing System in Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania.
You have a good shop there, right?
We do. We have probably 40 developers doing probably 30 Delphi developers. We may be the biggest
30 Delphi developers. Is it hard to find Delphi developers?
If you broaden the scope to nationwide, it's not that hard.
Okay.
We just recently hired about 6 or 7 new ones.
Right.
All of them remote. We're very remote friendly.
Okay.
We use Microsoft Teams quite a bit to communicate and have meetings online, and it works great.
It's kind of like this, right? We talked earlier. We started off talking about how we have this Philly community, but it doesn't have to be Philly anymore, right? We're on the web. We're streaming.
Anybody can watch this.
Anybody can watch this thing, right? And anybody internationally can watch this. We're happy to have anyone.
24/7, 365.
24/7, yeah. And I'm sure we can get some cameras wired up in your house if people really want to see what's going on.
Good, absolutely.
And
I'm more than amenable to not doing that.
Yeah. So what else are you checking out these days? Anything else interesting? Or are you
I've
with Angular?
mostly been focused. I tend to be very focused on things. So most of my spare time I've been doing with Angular and TypeScript. I have this crazy idea for a website that I'm not ready to talk about yet, but definitely I'm learning tons and tons about Angular and TypeScript, and want to build a website.
That's a cool idea.
Just to say I did it.
Yeah, that's good.
It's like when I wrote a book, I said I just want to write a book and sell one book.
Yeah. What's the name of your book? Is it Delphi book?
Delphi, coding in Delphi, more coding in Delphi.
More coding in Delphi.
And dependency injection in Delphi.
Do you have anything about no Delphi for me?
I don't yet. But I don't yet, but I will work on
about Delphi.
I understand. I'm working on that, though.
So it's kind of cool because a lot of people these days are somewhat all over the place with technology. You know, we're trying to learn this and that, and you're focusing, and that's actually working out really well for our community.
Well, good.
Because you're taking that Angular, you're diving into that, you're taking that, and you're there to present that to a lot of people around.
Well, I've historically taken the approach of if I want to learn something, I sign up to teach a session on it at
Isn't that great?
Code Camp somewhere.
Yeah.
And it really focuses
all of a sudden
your mind.
You become the expert. You know, you have to.
It really focuses your mind.
Yeah.
And it's worked out great for me. I've learned a lot through preparing and presenting, and it's been really good. I think I'd recommend anybody who wants to learn something to give it a talk and go for it that way.
That's a great tip. And we already mentioned that we're going to have you out at Tech Bash coming up soon.
Tech Bash, November 12th through 15th.
TechBash.com, 12th to 15th, and should be good. And I don't know, anything else you want to
I just appreciate
say hi to Rich?
Here.
Rich is back here with us now.
Hey, Rich.
Rich has been running around the building trying to, keep all the equipment running and the cameras running and the stream running. And then he's also corralling speakers, and we've got another speaker coming up soon. Yeah. Tim Corey's here, and you dragged him down, right? Hopefully, did you lasso him? Or?
He was gracious enough coming out of a session before we did the next one to come down and talk to us for a little bit. So Tim Corey just gave the session on moving your apps, your desktop apps to .NET Core. So we'll get a chance to talk to him in a minute.
Yeah, sure. Have you done any .NET Core stuff? Have you had a chance to
I manage a team that does .NET Core. Does that count?
I think it does. That counts.
Yeah, we're building a complete web ticketing API.
You are. You're doing it.
Yeah. Future is coming.
.NET Core, I say, said it on this show before, on our show, the Dev Talk show. It's here. Right, .NET Core is here. I think like it was great all along, but and Tim just did a session on Windows apps in .NET Core, and it's like it's the .NET framework. You know, I don't want to say like it's the .NET framework because we have .NET framework, we have .NET Core, but this is the way to go now, and it's kind of exciting.
It's the future of .NET.
Yeah. So maybe we'll swap out and get Tim to come on in.
All right.
And thanks, Nick, for coming in and talking with us for a little bit.